families in Chiswick, in Putney, in Richmond are split. All eyes now on North London. Brentford have made the shortest journey for their biggest night. Fulham have been down this road before and walked away with the pot of gold before. It will be Fulham to get the Championship playoff final underway. The referee is Martin Atkinson. Brentford and Fulham are two clubs at the heart of their communities, and before one of the biggest nights of these players' lives, they put aside rivalries, they unite to send their message, and they will keep sending the message till everyone gets the message. No room for racism in society. So 1 year and 2 days after this journey started on a balmy Bedfordshire night as Luton and Middlesbrough fought out that beautiful, chaotic draw at Kenilworth Road, it's time for the end game. There is one picture frame lying empty, ready to be filled with an iconic image from this night. Brentford looking to make it to the top division for the first time in over 7 decades. Fulham know what it's all about. They've got back to their feet after being crushed last season in the Premier League.
Yeah, the first thing to notice about Fulham, we wondered how the front line might line up, and Cabana's actually started on the right-hand side with Kamara playing through the middle and Deacon over Reed playing out on the left. We didn't think they'd actually play the three of them in those positions, so already something for Brentford to think about.
Yeah, it's a fairly fluid front three. Scott Parker did have a number of options that he could have gone with that personnel tonight. And it is Abu Kamara through the middle. Brentford with an early free kick to try and test Fulham here. Pontus Jansson amongst those forward on this side of the penalty area. It's gone the other way. It's dropped to Dalsgaard, and Jansson was waiting to pounce and smashed away by Hector. We did see Brentford try to blow Swansea away in the opening 20 minutes of the second leg at Griffin Park last week as they overturned that 1-goal deficit. Thomas Frank says he is here tonight to attack.
I think you've got to really love Thomas Frank's pre-match words: be cool, be brave, be Brentford, attack, and that's what we expect them to do. They can do it in different ways to put pressure on Fulham, 4-3-3, and press them high up the pitch, or drop into a 4-5-1 formation and play on the counter-attack, and that gives the opposition a lot of problems when you can play a couple of formations really well.
Ethan Pinnock, who only a few years ago was playing non-league football with Forest Green. They won the playoffs to get into the EFL, and now here he is with an opportunity to make it into the Premier League. Jansson being hunted down by Kamara. That's Ream, Harrison Reed. He's been so impressive since the restart. Harrison Reed again, tidying up for Fulham.
Yeah, we talked about lots of players in the build-up to this game, but Harrison Reed and Christian Norgard are so important to the functioning, the effective functioning of these two sides. That at times they go underneath the radar, but they're really important. Both coaches know that the value of those individuals.
We do have a choice of audio, augmented sound on Sky Sports main event, the natural sound from the stadium on Sky Sports Football. Ethan Pinnock. Incidentally, Brentford are playing in blue tonight. They've finished the higher up, higher than Fulham, so they could choose their kit. They want to play in this blue shirt. It's a nod towards their past and the shirt they wore when they first arrived at Griffin Park in 1904, and the players have really enjoyed playing in it this season. The shot from distance from Onoma, and the save made by David Raya.
There's an excellent ball around the corner from Deacon over Reed, and Josh Onoma will be encouraged to get forward into these advanced positions. There isn't an awful lot on for him, so you can understand why he takes the strike on, and he catches it really cleanly. David Raya, that's a really smart save. It's not an easy save because it arrives kind of on the bounce. Could easily have gone through the Brentford keeper, but he is, again, a player that's been outstanding all season for Brentford.
And the confidence will be coursing through the veins of Josh Onoma. The way he is pushed on, in particularly in the second half of the season, playing for a head coach who really believes in him, a head coach who's known him since he was 14 when he was at Tottenham.
You mentioned the fluidity in that Fulham front line. Already we've seen Decode-Overeed switch from left to a central position. Camara, who's closing the ball down now, has switched out onto that left-hand side. So he's going to give those three attackers of Fulham, are going to give that Brentford back four plenty to think about. You're playing against different players at different times.
Saïd Benrahma, who can trick his way out of the tightest of spots, but he's taken a hit there.
I think it is interesting that Scott Parker's gone for Dennis Odoi rather than Cyrus Christie. Starting this game, I feel that Dennis Odoi will be slightly more conservative in terms of going forward. He'll be looking to try and really smother Benrahma because he's such an outstanding individual. He can change the course of a game, so I can maybe understand that Odoi is going to be told maybe to stay in his own half a little bit more, but deal with Benrahma first and foremost.
And Watkins trying to catch up with that, and he does too. This is Saïd Benrahma, faced by Odoi. Benrahma again, he's trying to outwit Naskins Cabano, who stood his ground.
You see Dennis Odoi just applauding Naskins Cabano. At times they're going to have to work as a pair because Benrahma is that good. One-on-one, he has a problem, Dennis Odoi, so he's going to get his mate Cabano to come back and help him out.
And as you mentioned, there's no question that Dennis Odoi is not as attack-minded as Cyrus Christie, who did play against Cardiff City in the playoffs. It's always a difficult decision for Scott Parker to make in that part of the field, who gets that nod at right back. De Silva. The Danish international, Henrik Dalsgaard. Ream with eyes on it and gets to it, but Benrahma is picking up the pieces and was taken out by Hector.
Oh, it's a brilliant piece of play initially by Ollie Watkins, because it's not a great forward ball, but he makes something of it by making a challenge for it. And we see this so often with Benrahma. He won't stay out wide all the time on the left. He'll drift in field into that number 10, that pocket of space where he can get on the ball just like this. Go past defenders, draw fouls in really dangerous areas, but great work by Watkins just to keep that ball alive. And then Benrahma, he's so difficult to deal with when he's on the move.
Well, Scott Parker asking a question of fourth official Peter Banks, probably not liking the answer. Bryan Mbeumo and Saïd Benrahma, the two having a look at this. The left foot of Mbeumo, or maybe the right foot of Benrahma.
The only difficulty for whoever takes this is the distance from goal is a little bit further out than ideally you'd want to be, so you have to get power behind it to try and beat the keeper. Can you keep it on target with the power?
It's left to Mbeumo, and the wall stood strong. Benrahma on the follow-up. Comfortable for Marek Rodak in the Fulham goal, and the quick release from him, trying to set Abu Kamara away, and David Raya having to retreat inside his box. And he gets to it, and the thumbs up from Abu Kamara to Marek Rodak as they look to use his pace to cause Brentford problems.
Yeah, as soon as Rodak collected the ball, Kamara was on his way, so that's a clear tactic. If Brentford have committed bodies high up the pitch, can we get back at them? You know, even if it's from your goalkeeper, he's looking to release a pacey striker.
Counter-attacks have not been a big part of Fulham's game this season compared to what they were doing 2 years ago when they reached the Premier League by winning the playoff final.
I've watched them many times this season, Gary. I can't ever remember them counter-attacking against a team. They just back themselves to play their passing game, try and get it into the opponent's half, get it normally into Mitrovic and play from there. They're not a team that look to break swiftly on the counter. They might have to change that game plan today.
They do average 40 passes per shot at goal, which is the highest in the Championship. Very much a possession-based game. But they've gone from losing almost every week in the Premier League to winning games this season. Scott Parker has had to change their mentalities, enlisted the help of a psychologist to do just that. They lost 11 of their final 14 games in the Premier League last season, Fulham. And there's a losing culture at the club, and that is not easy to suddenly turn around, as David Raya just about gets away with that. And Josh Onoma will pick up. Onoma looking for Naskins Cabano. It didn't quite reach him. But Brentford causing their own problems, and De Silva doing the defending.
There's a real opportunity there for Onuma to get a shot away. Just couldn't get the ball out of his feet and then felt he had to pass the ball on to Kibano. But great pressure from Fulham. There's a poor pass back to David Raya. He's really close to his goal line here. That touch is too heavy. It gets away from him. The pressure's on from Camara and from Cordova-Reid. When it breaks the way of Onuma, just wonder, could he have got a shot in? Have he taken it first time? Takes a couple of touches and then the opportunity is gone. And once again, you see how high up the pitch Fulham are willing to play as a team, but Onuma as well. He's been released. He's not playing anywhere near Harrison Reed. He's going to step right up the pitch and at times become a second striker.
Well, and why not the form that he has been in? Beaten in that 2018 playoff final by Fulham. He's hoping to write happier memories this evening is Josh Onuma. Benrahma's touch. Rico Henry ushered forward from left back. Ollie Watkins in familiar territory on the left-hand side. Benrahma. Norgard doesn't appeal as he lost his footing. There's Rico Henry. De Silva. Benrahma again will pop up centrally when he can.
Well, there wasn't a great amount of protest from Christian Norgard, but I don't think he lost his footing. Seems as though there's some contact on him. I think it was Tom Kearney who was closest to him.
Benrahma. Watkins rising, as did Joe Bryan.
That's what Brentford do really well. If they dominate the ball, they will push. Even their holding midfielder, Norgard, high up the pitch to join in. It's actually Harrison Reed. I thought it was Kearney. It wasn't. It was Harrison Reed who does clip Norgard. That really should have been a free kick. It was right on the edge of the box. There's a clip on that left ankle.
No appeal at all from Christian Norgard, so the game went on.
Well, it's good to see, actually, a player wants to get up and get on the ball and try and score, make something for his team, maybe, rather than just turn to the referee and appeal for a free kick or a penalty.
Harrison Reed. Quite what he had in mind.
You see Tom Kearney just saying to Harrison Reed there's an opportunity just to slide the ball into the feet of Josh Onuma again, who made a run into an advanced position, so it looks like Onuma could have a key role to play this game, whether arriving late in the penalty area or getting on the ball in deeper positions.
He's been trying to keep today as normal as possible. The Brentford players met for brunch at their training ground around about 11:30. They then headed to a local hotel to try and sleep ahead of this big night. Kibano has found Dennis Adoy. The spin by Josh Onuma. He is capable of opening doors, as we saw with that fantastic goal he scored at the Cardiff City Stadium. Alexander Mitrovic missing out on the big night at the moment, but he has been named amongst the substitutes. He is ready if needed. The Championship's Golden Boot winner.
Well, we were watching him warm up and he was being warmed up on his own, so I don't know whether that means that it's unlikely that he's going to play a part tonight, but let's hope so. It's a great spectacle, the Championship playoff final. You want your very best players out there, and let's hope that Mitrovic can play maybe 20 minutes toward the end, maybe.
Naskins Kibano. Looking to move away from Pinnock. Manages to force the corner.
Again, it all starts, ball into the feet of Josh Onuma. He turns and then he blinks. Naskins Kibano get the ball out wide, try and get across into the box, but everything for Fulham is going through Onuma at the moment.
He's enjoying playing in this free role, this Josh Onuma.
And that's why you have to look back at Harrison Reed and the job that he does, that defensive insurance he provides. That frees up Kearney and Onuma to break into those positions, so they can only do that knowing that Harrison Reed is behind them.
Here is the aforementioned Harrison Reed. Zonal and man-to-man marking from Brentford. Francis Janssen taking charge of the situation. Now Reed. Dennis Odoi. He was sent off in the playoff final 2 years ago and had a nervy wait for the final 20 minutes. And then Fulham clinched a place in the Premier League.
In the last 20 seconds, you've just seen the two approaches by Brentford. Fulham, comfortable possession, and Benrahma will drop back into midfield. They'll look to maybe pinch the ball, play on the counter-attack. When the ball goes all the way back to Marek Rodic, they squeeze up the pitch, they turn into a 4-3-3 and turn into a high-pressing team. That gives Fulham lots of problems. You're never really sure how they're going to defend against you.
Side against Solly Watkins. Brentford were hoping to visit Wembley to have a look around and get used to the surroundings before the game tonight, but they weren't able to because of the two finals that have been played here in the last few days and the current restrictions that are in place. Of course, Fulham know this place pretty well. Ream stepping forward. Benrahma trying to release Rico Henry. Odoi tidying up. Harrison Reed.
It's a real opportunity there. Benrahma could have played on Burma Win, who'd realised that his team Brentford had won the ball back and was on his way. He just delayed playing the forward pass, or maybe Benrahma didn't see his run.
Michael Hector. Plenty of pressure on his shoulders tonight. Quite a few of his family are Fulham fans. This is Harrison Reed. Nicely done by Camero, who picks out Naskins Cabano. He's continued his run. This is Cabano again. Now Tom Kearney. Kearney sliding the ball through and picking out Josh Onaman. A sharp save from David Raya, who then had to block the follow-up, but he didn't know too much about it. He knew plenty about the first save. Fulham are having the more encouraging moments here in the opening 16 minutes.
Well, we know that Fulham are a patient team in possession. They work their way towards goal there, and once again it's Onaman in an advanced position, bringing a very good save out of David Raya.
Fulham are on the approach again. It's Naskins Cabano. Trying to wriggle away from Henry, delivers the cross, and David Raya down sharply and manages to hold on.
He has been outstanding all season. David Raya makes important save after important save. No more so than this one, because the angle is really tight, but Onaman's shot is clearly on target. It's going in at that far post, and he gets down so smartly, Raya. It's a big, strong hand as well. As if it kind of rolls over his wrist, it's probably Dicot over Reed for a tap-in. As it is, a big, strong wrist keeps the ball out, and Brentford can clear the danger, but Onaman is running the show so far for Fulham.
He's been nicknamed Pele by his teammates since that goal at Cardiff City in the playoff first leg.
It was more Ricky Villa for me rather than Pele.
You've always got something to say, haven't you?
It is my job, Gary.
I said the other night someone called him Diego Maradona, which was a good one. There's Dennis Odoi. Tim Ream, Brentford backing off. There's Michael Hector.
See, normally if it's Cyrus Christie at right back, when Fulham are in possession there with Michael Hector, Christie would be over the halfway line, high up the pitch. You can see Dennis Odoi is worried about Benrahma. He's just that little bit deeper. He's closer to Hector. Just gives him that extra defensive body there if they do lose the ball.
Dennis Odoi. There's Hector. Another key signing that Fulham made last summer, but he had to wait for his opportunity before he was eligible to play. That finally happened in January. He hasn't missed a minute since. The hold-up was because there was a hold-up on the Ryan Sessegnon deal to Tottenham. This is Dennis Adoy. Fulham looking the more threatening in the opening 20 minutes at Wembley.
They're just starting to dominate possession and making good use of that possession as well, getting dangerous attacking players in advanced positions.
Cordova-Reid with the attempt that time, which deflects behind.
Because they're enjoying so much of the ball, we're going to see players popping up in different positions. They can go, you know, walkabout. That's what Cordova-Reid does there. He drifts off the left-hand side. He knows the team aren't going to give the ball away, so I'll change the picture, get on the ball and get a shot away.
They haven't been prolific from set pieces this season, Fulham. Scoring just the 11, only Barnsley scored fewer in the Championship this campaign, but they're looking to put the pressure on David Raya in the Brentford goal. It's worked short to Naiskins Cabano.
Just a change of corner taker here. Some readers just called Joe Bryan over, so rather than an outswing corner, I want Joe Bryan with his left foot to whip it in right in on top of David Raya.
Hector amongst those who is right on top of David Raya. It's being watched by Ollie Watkins. Josh Onema arrives on the scene. The referee with plenty to keep an eye on. You knew the whistle was coming. Just picked out the battle of Onema and Jensen, I think, by the looks of it, although Adoy and Norgard also being spoken to. Again, it's moved short to Naiskins Cabano, then to Tom Kearney, which changes the angle completely, and swung in by Kearney. Smashed away by Henry. That's Ream. Hector. Now Pinnock. Henry again gets there just ahead of Naiskins Cabano. The drinks break is coming shortly. Fulham will not want it to come. Cabano trying to get the better of Henry, who digs his heels in again.
Well, it's not really a drinks break, is it? The players don't need to take any water on board. It is just really a tactical chat from the coaches to their teams. I think Thomas Frank and Brentford need it a bit more than Scott Parker and Fulham.
He's been told to keep his tactics board away, has Thomas Frank. We will see.
He's not got a pocket-sized foldable one. He can just sneak out there.
There's Joe Bryan. Camera, Ollie Watkins, and Brentford with a chance to spring on the counter-attack here, but not for long, because Abu Camera raced back and helped win it back.
That is the problem for Fulham, because they commit so many bodies up the pitch. When they lose it, there is the opportunity for Brentford to counter-attack, but Camera did superbly well.
Joe Bryan surging forward. Camera again. Dennis Adoy. Kearney runs into trouble in the form of Ollie Watkins. Now Ben Rama. And Burmo. Just smuggle it back through to Ben Rama. It was Onema on the retreat who got to it that time for Fulham.
Josh Onema is absolutely everywhere, clearly up for this.
Pontus Jansson. Ethan Pinnock. Henry's on the move on this side of the pitch, and the target's been found. Henry delivering the cross. And Marek Rodak with a comfortable save to keep out Mbeumo.
This is what Brentford do really well. You won't see Dalsgaard down the right go forward too much, but Rico Henry certainly does, because Ben Rama drifts in field, so the left back can provide the width, and he normally provides decent service into the box. This isn't a bad ball. It's not an easy one from Mbeumo again, who's in a good run off that right-hand flank to try and get on the end of the cross.
Signed from the French second division last summer, Bryan Mbeumo, Brentford's record buy for just under £6 million. So a fantastic season. There's De Silva. Trying to make things happen, and then Burma was waiting to pounce, and it was just taken away from him. Hector perfectly placed.
Well, I'm not sure whether he was perfectly placed. I'm not sure whether he actually sees the run that Mbermo makes. He has a little look at him, and he's maybe caught ball watching slightly. And Mbermo gets in behind him. Maybe just his size, he manages to get kind of glance that ball, just get something on it, takes it away from Mbermo. So a good bit of defending in the end, but he was caught out by ball watching and letting Mbermo get in behind him.
Well, we did see one of the best defensive actions of the season made by Michael Hector in that first leg at Cardiff City just over a week ago. And he somehow kept out Robert Glatzel. He managed to get a decisive touch on that. So when Mbermo couldn't close in and make an impact. Jensen with that corner straight into the side netting. The set-piece coach will not be pleased. So the first drinks break of the game. Let's go down ringside. Let's join Scott Minto.
I like that, Gary, ringside. That we can certainly hear instructions being made from the coaching staff, both on the bench and here in the stands as well. But Liam, look, great start from Fulham, wasn't it?
It was a great start. They dominated possession, had a really good couple of good opportunities in Brentford's 18-yard box, and it came from them being really aggressive in their press. And Kamara's really set that off with his. We said about Mitrovic not starting. What Kamara gives them is real pace and energy in terms of pressing the ball, and they were much more aggressive than Brentford. And it's only until the last couple of minutes that Brentford have really found their feet and made their way back into the game.
Yeah, fantastic header at the end there from Michael Hector. Thomas Frank has got his tactics poured out. Dean, how have you seen it, and how do you use as a manager this time during the break?
Well, I thought it started really cagey. Neither midfield really got on the ball in the first 10 minutes, and then I thought Jensen jumped out a couple of times, and Fulham played through him and got Josh Onoma, who I think has been really good so far on the ball. But this is a period where you can actually get the players together and just give them a few little pointers. Brentford are building up with a 3 with Rico Henry going really high, and he seems to be that out ball at the moment.
Gary, Andy, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Andy, I don't know if you've been following Thomas Frank around the shops, but you were right. He's got a smaller tactics board and he's brought it out.
Well, if people are going to criticise you for a big tactics board, the obvious way to go is to try and make it a bit smaller, try and smuggle it in, get the players around you so no one can really see it, but we still get our cameras in there. But he's clearly got points to make, and the drinks break gives him a great opportunity just to tweak things and maybe deal with what Fulham are throwing at them a little bit better.
Well, Josh Onoma has made a big impact in this game so far. And you just feel that break came at the right time for Brentford. Fulham have made the better start. Here's Reid, instrumental in that. It's not just the way he breaks for play, Harrison Reid. He sets Fulham forward on the front foot as well with his clever passing. Here he is again. Cabano. Nothing could split these two points-wise in the championship table this season. Both finished on 81 points, both finishing 2 points behind second place West Bromwich Albion. That's how close they were. Brentford had to pick themselves up after effectively twice missing out on the chance to go second in the final week. Well, they did pick themselves up with that performance against Swansea in the second leg at Griffin Park. Silva striding forward this time and trying to slip it through to Ollie Watkins.
It's a fabulous piece of play from Said Benrahma, drifting into that creator position. Forward to Josh De Silva, but De Silva should have played the ball out wide.
No holding back from Harrison Reid, and he's about to be yellow carded for that challenge.
Well, Martin Atkinson was in a very good position to see exactly what happened, and he went to the yellow card very quickly. So he clearly feels he maybe overdoes this, Harrison Reid, but it's not a red card. It's just maybe the slightly raised right foot that causes a bit of concern. He's always on the stretch. He certainly catches his man. On other occasions, you can see players getting sent off for that, but clearly Martin Atkinson feels that he's making a genuine attempt for the ball, and it's accidental. He catches him with the follow-through, but only Harrison Reid will know whether he truly meant to go through his man there.
And he'll have to watch himself now, Harrison Reed, who does play in that position where you need to be tenacious, put the challenges in. He's done just that, but he's been yellow carded, and will have to watch himself. De Silva with the free kick. Pontus Jansson was forward. Neeskens Cabano. Here is Reed. Cabano. Reed again. Fulham tiptoeing forward. Dennis Adoy. That's Kearney. Ream has seen the gap and gone for it. Plays it though straight to Dalsgaard. And Burmo does not survive the handball appeal.
Just going back to the Harrison Reed challenge, the ball was always too far away from him. He was never actually going to be able to make contact with the ball. So I know he's a combative midfielder and you want to always try and win the ball, but at times you just got to err on the side of caution, because he could easily have been sent off of that. And it changes the complexion of the game completely. So just stay on your feet. OK, the opposition get the ball back, but at least you don't give the referee a big decision to make.
Spins off the head of Pontus Jansson, who angrily sprinted off the pitch after Brentford beat Swansea in the playoff semi-final second leg last week. He was angry with himself for making the error, which led to Ryan Brewster's goal, which reignited Swansea's hopes. He went into the dressing room, had a word with himself, calmed himself down and came back out. He's been a real leader in this Brentford team, and let's not forget, Brentford weren't scouting Pontus Jansson. It was he and his agent who, when they knew Leeds were about to sell him, came knocking on Brentford's door. He told them that perhaps he could help out defensively, and he's done exactly that, and that is what Brentford needed to do if they were to mount a challenge this season. They've always been a fabulous attacking team in the last 5 years or so, but they have let themselves down defensively, but not this season.
Yeah, they have defended really well right across the team. But I look at David Raya, Jansson, Pinnock and Norgard as, you know, 4 key players in making Brentford harder to beat.
There's Ream. Tom Kearney. Adoy. Hector having to stretch and getting there just ahead of Ollie Watkins. De Silva. That's Pinnock. Silva again. Started out as a striker at Arsenal. It was Thierry Henry who helped convert him into a midfielder. Jansson. Brian Mbeumo. Dalsgaard. There's Jensen again. Dalsgaard has continued his run. Cabano doing the defending.
Brentford just starting to enjoy a bit more possession, exerting a bit more pressure on Fulham defensively. The opening maybe 25 minutes for Fulham's, but much more of an even contest now.
Thomas Frank was hoping there would be no nerves tonight, but there were bound to be nerves for a game of this magnitude. The biggest night of their careers, their lives, for many of these players. De Silva. Rico Henry. Henry's cross. Ollie Watkins will try and make something of this. Rodak hits the deck, drops the ball, and gets the free kick.
Well, Ollie Watkins has had very little to feed off in the opening half an hour or so. He's never going to get to this ball without fouling the goalkeeper. Once again, it's down the left-hand side that Brentford attack. Decent ball into the box, but that's a clear foul from Watkins. He must know as soon as he gets off his feet there and collides with the goalkeeper, the whistle's going to blow.
Calling card left by Ollie Watkins. You know, he's an out-and-out centre-forward these days when he's making challenges like that. Camera. Cabano the target, and Cabano looks to bring the ball under his spell. Adoy. There's Reed. Tom Kearney. Playing a little bit deeper these days than he was a couple of years ago when he was operating in the number 10 position for Fulham under Slaviša Jokanović.
I suppose with Tom Kearney, it depends really what the game demands. At times he might need to sit a little bit deeper, help out Harrison Reed if his team are under pressure, but when they're enjoying possession, he can step forward and join Onuma as an attacking midfielder.
No!
Fair to say, Dennis Adoy disagree with that decision. Throwing goes the way of Brentford. Henrik Dalsgaard. Reed saw the danger and dealt with it.
Yeah, Harrison Reed mops up, but it all starts. The press is actually triggered by Abu Kamara closing down Pontus Jansson. Been really impressed with Kamara. I can understand completely why Scott Parker's put him in the team.
Well, it looked like he was out the door last season after the fallout of Fulham, Abu Kamara. Here he is playing on a night like this, with a chance like this, to take Fulham back to the Premier League. This is Michael Hector. He's at the end of a season in which he's had 3 pre-seasons. He's done a lot of running this campaign as Michael Hector. Pontus Jansson. Hector there, just behind Ollie Watkins. Thundered forward by Marek Rodak. That's Pinnock. Tom Kearney. There's our 2 teams who like to spend a lot of time with the ball. Fulham in particular.
Be aware, Hector the jump. Dennis Adoy. Come. Keep up. Relax now.
There's Hector. Now Dennis Adoy. Hector again. Brentford keeping their shape. Tom Kearney. There's Reed looking to pick out Dennis Adoy, who's tiptoed forward from right back. It's Adoy. Referee has seen the foul and played the advantage, although Ollie Watkins was stopped in his tracks, and now Martin Atkinson brings play back.
It was a clear foul, but Thomas Frank won't be happy with Saïd Benrahma because Dennis Adoy got forward far too easily, and Benrahma just watched him go. And then Rico Henry's got 2 against 1 and can't deal with it defensively. It's unusual because normally Benrahma and Burmo are so keen to get back and help their team out defensively. Just stood still and watched Adoy run past him.
That led to problems for that man, Rico Henry, although he did stand his ground.
At times for Fulham, it's pretty much a 4-4-2 with Josh Onuma joining Abu Kamara. I think, of course, that's to give Brentford a problem defensively, but also to press them when they have the ball, as they're doing here. They're not making it easy for Brentford to play out from the back, which is what they want to do.
Well, Fulham will be the happier so far, but we stand at 0-0. David Reyes had to make one sharp save in particular. There's Benrahma. Does love to float in field. Dalsgaard. Space here for Mbermo. Joe Bryan closed the door and wins the free kick.
It's great defending from Joe Bryan, but again, the Brentford wide players, they don't stay out in those wide positions. Benrahma drifting in field and Burmo doing the same on the other side. When the fullbacks provide the width, the 2 Brentford wide players drift in field and try and affect the game, and that's so hard defensively for Fulham to deal with.
Scottish football is back. And this weekend, St Johnstone against Aberdeen is live. There we go, 12 o'clock Saturday, Sky Sports Football. Aberdeen beaten at home by Rangers on day one. And then Celtic go to Kilmarnock, that's Sunday, 3:30 on Sky Sports Football. Celtic looking for 10 in a row in terms of titles.
There's good pressure there from Brentford, forcing that long forward ball from Michael Hector. That's not what Scott Parker wants from his team. Long aimless ball, offside flag goes up, Brentford get the ball back, all stems from the high press.
Well, he had a very definite plan with the way he wanted to play this season, Scott Parker, and he stuck to it. What's impressed him most is how his team have become streetwise this season. It's very much in the mould of Scott Parker, the player who used to throw himself in front of everything on a football pitch, but could play as well. As we said earlier on, they had to turn around this losing culture, and even after relegation and playing in a division below, that is never easy to do.
I think because the season's gone on so long, you forget that it is Scott Parker's first season in charge of Fulham, and of course it's hard enough to get a team into the playoff positions, but a team that's just been relegated from the Premier League as well, it's mentally, physically very tough, and he's done a terrific job. I think they can get better, Fulham. I think we've seen more from them in this game than we've seen in many other games this season.
Said he aged 10 years during the second half of the second leg over Cardiff City. Still younger than us though, Andy. You in particular.
That's why I never became a coach. I didn't want to lose my boyish good looks.
I helped him to lose them. Harrison Reed with that touch. Here's Tom Kearney. Camera. Fulham playing in pockets between the lines again, and Dennis Adoy picks up. There's Hector. Camera was waiting in the middle, but it's far too close to David Raya. De Silva, Ollie Watkins. There's Tom Kearney. Fulham seeing more of the ball in this first half. It's pretty much how they played in the game back in June at Craven Cottage. The first game after the restart, and Brentford hit them late on. This is Josh Onomah. Now Ream. Too much on that for Cabano. He was the man who won that game effectively for Brentford at Craven Cottage back in June. Emiliano Marcondes, who stepped off the bench, scored one, made one.
Yeah, I think both benches could have a huge part to play in this game. Mitrovic, Caballero, knockout on the bench for Fulham. Marcondes there, and Sergi Canos back in the Brentford squad after injury.
Cabano. Camera tried to play it back to him, but Rama got to him. Haskins Cabano, Fulham's man of the moment of late. Feeling the knee.
Well, he made a remarkable recovery. It looks for all the world as if he'd missed this game with a hamstring injury that he picked up in that second leg, but he's got himself back fit. I think it's very important for Fulham as well. With Mitrovic, we're not sure how big a part he can play. If they'd lost Cabano as well, an in-form attacker, it would have been a double whammy.
Goalless at the break in the Championship playoff final. Fulham have been the more threatening so far. Josh Onomah having a shot at goal which was kept out by David Raya, who made a sharp save. Fulham the more threatening, but at the break at Wembley it stands at Fulham 0, Brentford 0.
Andy Hinchcliffe and Gary Weaver.
Yes, thank you, Scott. There is a hero in waiting out there somewhere. This is Brentford's 9th playoff campaign. They have never won promotion via the playoffs. They're looking to exorcise some of those ghosts tonight. Fulham, as we know, have been down this road before. They won the playoff final 2 years ago. They then spent big in that summer. And some of those that had taken Fulham to the Premier League were pushed aside as new signings came in, and they weren't best pleased about it. These players are hoping that this time, if they make it up, they get the chance to show what they can do in the Premier League next season. Brentford to get the second half underway. Andy, what do you expect from this second 45 now? Much of the same from what we saw in the first half?
I think Brentford struggled to get their rhythm going, their game going, their natural attacking game going, and that's all credit to Fulham. I agree with Liam in terms of the way that Fulham set themselves up a bit differently than we've seen during the course of the season, harder to break down. But I just think with Camera in the side as well, and with Onoma playing higher up the pitch, there's an urgency, a desire to cover more ground, to close Brentford down, to make life as difficult as possible for the centre halves. We've not really seen that an awful lot from Fulham during the course of the season, so I think that energy and urgency in the first half really impressive from Fulham. Can Brentford match that?
Just caught a glimpse there of Camera and Janssen getting to know each other. Here is Pontus Janssen. Now Christian Norgard. Thomas Frank changing his midfield for this, bringing in Josh Da Silva. Emiliano dropping down to the bench. That would have been a tough conversation, but one that a head coach has to have. A reminder, Fulham are without Alexander Mitrovic, who is on the bench there if needed. Onoma trying to flick it through towards De Cordova-Reid. Fulham claim free kick. They get the free kick, and this could be Neeskens Cabano territory.
Well, Rico Henry made a bit of a mess of a forward ball, gifted the ball back to Neeskens Cabano. He looks as if he's tried to make up for that by getting back in field and winning the ball back for the team. He just gets there too late. He's just too sharp. De Cordova-Reid gets a touch on the ball, and Henry clatters into him, and this is real danger for Brentford. Will it be Neeskens Cabano? We've seen what he's done recently with his set pieces, can blend power and accuracy really well. He's got to take a few deep breaths and try and pick out the top corner.
Well, we've seen him go over the wall, around the wall, under the wall. David Raya left guessing. Tom Kearney over there as well, but the stage is left to Neeskens Cabano, who hits the outside of the net this time.
You see what he's trying to do, just wrap his foot around it. Bring that ball back in from outside the post to inside. He just can't get the whip on it. He's not that far away. If that's on target, I think Raya has a problem.
He's really stepped forward with these free kicks in the last few weeks as Neeskens Cabano, but apparently he's been slamming them home in training for most of the season. Hector gets there in front of Ollie Watkins. Josh Onoma looking to make things happen again for Fulham, being pursued by Dalsgaard and Norgard, and he's still going, Josh Onoma.
I talked at the start of the second half about the energy and the urgency that we've seen from Fulham, and Josh Onoma really epitomises that. Great example there of bursting forward, looking to make things happen.
And he was always pushed on at Tottenham by Maurizio Pochettino. The feeling was that what he did off the ball was what maybe cost him the defensive side of the game at Tottenham. As we said earlier on, Scott Parker has known him since he was 14. Scott Parker was doing his coaching badges at Tottenham and was coaching Josh Onoma. Now he's his head coach at Craven Cottage and is getting the best out of Onoma. The Silva on the charge this time. Goal kick is the decision.
Well, the way that Joe Bryan is looking at Josh Da Silva, he clearly feels that the Brentford player has just dived and there is no contact. The Brentford players think differently. He was flying in. Joe Bryan, I don't think there is any contact at all there. Josh De Silva may be looking to get the free kick for this one. No, he isn't caught at all. He actually leaves that trailingly there to catch Brian, but that's not a free kick. And just going back to Josh Onomah, I think Scott Parker's got it right in playing him in the position that he's playing him in here. If you're worried about his defensive work, then get Harrison Reed and Tom Kearney to play in those positions, make the team hard to break down, and let Josh Onomah just always think about going forward, and that's when he's at his best.
Here is Onomah. Hector. Decored over Reed. There's Harrison Reed trying to twist away from trouble, and he wasn't giving that one up. And Cabano catches up with it. Harrison Reed again, trying to shake off Jensen, who deals with the danger. Tom Kearney.
I'm not sure why Cabano is actually laying that ball to Harrison Reed. He's isolated 1-on-1 against Rico Henry, who's backing into his own penalty area. Cabano, just take him on, knock that ball past him, make him defend.
The touch from Camara. It's the most lucrative fixture on the planet, worth £160 million to the winners. The Championship playoff final. Joe Bryan. Heavy touch from Bryan, and Norgard picks up the baton for Brentford. Ollie Watkins. There's Jensen. Benrahma. It's in his mind here, Saeed Benrahma. Slaloming through, Benrahma. Managed to slam the door shut in the nick of time as far as Fulham are concerned. I think he's claiming handball in the midst of all that, Saeed Benrahma.
I know Benrahma loves to drop a shoulder drift infield onto his right foot and whip that ball towards the far corner. Onomah, I talked about maybe his lack of defensive diligence. He did well just to get in really in Benrahma's eye line, get in his way, and he couldn't get his shot in. I mentioned Josh Onomah, about where he plays for Scott Parker and Fulham, pretty clear. And Scott Parker wants him in the opposition half. He's got Kearney and Reed to do the defensive work, get him out the pitch, and that's what's been happening, and that's when he's at his best.
Christian Norgard, who played under Thomas Frank at Bromby and also in the Danish youth system. Was a Fiorentina last season, didn't feel he had the confidence of the Fiorentina coach at the time, Stefano Pioli. He's had a good season playing under Thomas Frank again. Tom Kearney, space to work in. Decored over Reed. Onomah. There's a Doy. Burmo reacting that time, but Camara stealing the ball back, and then Burmo committing the foul.
He's not had too many touches, Brian and Burmo, and he's cutting a bit of a frustrated figure. It's a poor first touch, ball gets away from him, and definitely seems to catch his man before the ball, but he's got to calm himself down, because it could be key to Brentford winning this game. We haven't seen enough from him. We haven't seen enough really from the BMW front three for Brentford.
Yeah, they've not been at full flow so far tonight, but credit Fulham for that too. Ollie Watkins and Burmo. De Silva's on the outside. Silva seen off for now.
Well, Brentford have to be sharper, because that's a golden opportunity. They do run the risk, Fulham. In the possession game they do, with bodies up the pitch, that the counter-attack, they can be caught out. They just weren't sharp enough there, Brentford, just delayed, and the ball was in the Fulham penalty area. Got to make decisions quicker than that.
Dalsgaard kept the ball in. Here's De Silva again getting involved, trying to slip it through to Ollie Watkins. Again, though, Ream was on his toes.
There's an earlier weaving run from Saeed Benrahma. The ball did seem to strike maybe the arm of Harrison Reed, but his arm looked really close to his body, and it certainly was. There's absolutely no way that that's a penalty.
player who's been given real confidence by his head coach Thomas Frank is Saïd Benrahma. Didn't feel he could do the tricks and the flicks, and didn't feel confident enough playing in France at times. Brentford's recruitment is admired across Europe now. Look at every league around the world and see which teams are overperforming in that league and which players are overperforming in those teams, and then make their move. We said earlier on, this starting 11 cost £30 million. There's Jensen, who was signed from Celta Vigo, but had been on Brentford's radar for quite some time since he was at Nordsjælland. Benrahma. Again, it was a promising position for Brentford.
Mentioning there Brentford's recruitment, what's been so important this season in the January transfer window, they didn't sell any of their big stars. They kept them all. They all wanted to stay because they felt they had a very good chance of getting to the Premier League, and so it's proven.
Yeah, they looked at the stats that they do look at in January, and the result was that they had a 50-50 chance of promotion, so they decided not to sell. There's Da Silva, who was brought in from Arsenal, and Burmo. Made room for the cross, Brian and Burmo, and Benrahma unable to keep it interesting.
Well, earlier on there was a decent ball in from Benrahma, but Tim Ream defended quite brilliantly. Defended the space, but he was touch tight with Ollie Watkins. There was no way that Watkins was going to get to the ball first.
I think he's just fixing the hair, Tim Ream. Emiliano has been summoned from the bench. Remember, it was he who came on and provided the match-winning cameo when these two met back in June at Craven Cottage. The first game of the restart.
You don't expect Emiliano to come on for Josh Da Silva. I just wonder whether Matthias Jensen might make way. He's had very little impact on the game, the midfielder.
Burma looking to drive Brentford up the pitch. Kearney standing his ground, held out by Reid.
A great example there of what Tom Kearney is in the Fulham team to do, is to get back into that deeper defensive position, help out Harrison Reid and stop the Brentford counter-attacks, which he did there so well.
We're hearing it will be Brian Mbeumo who will be making way shortly, and Emiliano coming on to replace him. Can't play in that role, can Emiliano, although he's been operating in more of a number 8 position of late.
I suppose there's a couple of players, a couple of options for Thomas Frank in terms of who he took off, but that's an interesting call. Even though Mbeumo's not had the greatest of nights, he is a player that when he gets it right can score, can create something, can win the game.
Harrison Reid hunted down by Jensen, but gets the ball to Kearney. Dennis Adoy surging forward. Cordova-Reid and camera in the box. It's dropped to Bobby D. Cordova-Reid, and the chance gone.
Oh, they build a really excellent attack here, Fulham. Once again, Benrahma is just standing watching as Dennis Adoy breaks forward. They should really deal with this, Brentford. They don't. It's not an easy chance for Cordova-Reid. Dalsgaard has done well getting round on the cover, getting goal side of the striker. It's on the half volley. He's leaning back, leaning away from the ball. And David Raya knows it's going wide, but a good attack from Fulham down that right flank.
1 goal in 18 games for Bobby D. Cordova-Reid. Alexander Mitrovic hoping to become a Premier League player again with Fulham. There are a few who are concerned if Fulham don't make it, he could leave, but he's really settled in southwest London. Is Alexander Mitrovic, lives down by the river and is enjoying his time at Craven Cottage. Benrahma dropping deep for Brentford. There's Dalsgaard. Da Silva on the move again. And Burmo. Now Norgard. Ethan Pinnock, every Brentford outfield player in the Fulham half. Janssen. Dalsgaard. And Burmo. Well, that could be his last action.
That really sums his night up. And Brentford had to be patient, knocking that ball across the face of Fulham, but Fulham retreats into a really strong defensive shape, and just lack of concentration, and Burmo ball rolls underneath his foot. Got to be better than that, but he's off.
Yeah, confirmation of the change. Emiliano replaces Brian and Burmo. You can see he's frustrated with himself probably more than anything. He's been fantastic this season, though. His first season in the Championship. He'll be hoping his only season in the Championship. But here's a man who's really come to the fore since he arrived back at Griffin Park following his loan spell with Midtjylland. Emiliano, who made the difference at Craven Cottage back in June.
Yeah, I think it was Josh De Silva who actually takes on Burmo's place wide on the right-hand side, with Emiliano playing alongside Norgard and Jensen in midfield.
He's not hanging around, is he? Although he'll be fired up, as I mentioned earlier, it would have been a difficult conversation that Thomas Frank would have had to have with Emiliano. He played really well, as the Brentford team did as a whole last week. And the second leg win against Swansea.
It's been a real struggle for Ollie Watkins to get involved in the game. I mentioned Matthias Jensen as well. He struggled to get on the ball, but if Brentford are to win this, they need to get Watkins involved. But again, he's got to keep his, his head right. That one opportunity might come along. He's disappointed he's not been more involved, but all it takes is one opportunity. You score, you're the hero.
And he wasn't impressed with his own performance here in his final game for Exeter in the playoff final a few years ago against Blackpool. Says he didn't run enough, didn't work hard enough. Now he's back here wearing the shirt of Brentford. He's got some defending to do. Joe Bryan standing over this set piece for Fulham. Bryan's delivery, and Hector got the head on it.
Such a pacey ball in it, swinging away from goal. It's really difficult for Hector to guide this goalwards. You can see how tight. There's Christian Norgard, who's also Emiliano, actually the substitute, who's gone up against him. And he reacts really well, because Emiliano's not marking anyone initially. He sees the run that Hector makes and makes sure that he's shoulder to shoulder with him. That's good defending from the substitute.
Harrison Reed. There's Adoy. Ream. Joe Bryan. Fulham again playing their patient brand of football, looking to move Brentford around. Hector. He does try and play as many forward passes as he possibly can. He takes risks. Sometimes they don't work, sometimes they do. Foul by Cabana.
I think more often than not, when the Fulham defenders have the ball, it's Josh Onoma who's actually finding space more than anybody else. He's their kind of free guy that they can get on the ball. The form that he's been in, he is the player that you want in possession. So you can get him again on the edge of that Brentford penalty area to have a real effect on the game.
Ollie Watkins the target here. Hector in the way. Cabano getting the better of Benrahma. Brentford are swarming around Naskins Cabano, who's protected the ball really well. Camara. There's Reed. Now Tom Kearney. Joe Bryan on the move on this side of the pitch, and Dalsgaard flinging himself at the ball to make sure that that didn't progress any further. De Silva. That's Jensen. Boy on the retreat that time. Pontus Jansson makes his way forward. They do have a set-piece coach in Andreas Georgeson. They also have a sleep coach as well at Brentford. There is Andreas Georgeson, but a sleep coach as well. They could just listen to us, Andy. Marginal gains, and it's taken them to within sight of the Premier League. Corner's a deep one this time. Pinnock rising. Ollie Watkins trying to leave his calling card. He was defended well by Joe Bryan. You can see what he's thinking. Reminding you that Brentford's previous head coach, Nicolai Hova, was headhunted by Pep Guardiola last year. They all break in the middle now as a dangerous ball in. He was standing his ground. And the referee right on the scene there as Tom Kearney committed the foul.
Well, he makes his mind up very early, Tom Kearney, that he's going to try and slide and get this ball. I think his reaction tells you everything. He knows he's going to get booked for it. It's actually a poor forward ball, actually, from Onuma. Brentford are onto it. He goes diving in there, Tom Kearney. He's nowhere near the ball. He just seems to go through Ben Rama as well. He can't tackle like that. You've got to be so careful. So with Harrison Reed, now with Tom Kearney. This is the ball in, actually. I think Michael Hector as well. He gets the right side of Emiliano. The ball seems to strike his arm more than anything else. Again, I don't think you can give a penalty for that.
Apologies if you were offended by any language you may have heard a few moments ago. Everything is riding on this contest. Emiliano having a look at it. Saïd Benrahma in attendance too. Emiliano, quite what he was hoping for.
I was looking at where Marek Rodak was standing there. There's a big chunk of his goal to the right. Felt really it should be Benrahma with his right foot, just maybe whipping that ball towards that right-hand post. It's a difficult skill Emiliano's trying to carry out there. That kind of Cristiano way of coming straight onto the ball. Cristiano Ronaldo whips it, gets it up and down, and gets the power, gets it on target. I think maybe just a side foot would have been better served there.
So time for a drinks break. Time for Scott Minto.
Thank you, Gary. Yes, Emiliano certainly very good on set pieces. And Dean, do you feel that the change that Thomas Frank has made Brentford slightly better going forward?
Yeah, I just feel Josh De Silva's got on the ball higher up the pitch, and he's actually made a few good runs, and he's not actually seen the other side of the pitch at times because there's some good outballs with Rico Henry and Benrahma.
But Fulham still better for you, Liam?
For me, yeah. Up to that last 2 minutes again before the drinks break, I think Scott Parker's got his tactics absolutely spot on. I think if you look at Brentford's team, their strength, Henry and Benrahma on the left side, he sets his team up when Brentford try and play out to let the ball go to the right-hand side, and it cuts out a lot of the threats that Brentford cause. And I think the biggest difficulty for him now is his substitutions, because it's going that well for him from a tactical point of view. You don't want to lose that. But what I do see is the likes of Onuma losing energy, Bobby Reed losing energy, and energy's been a big part of that game in terms of pressing the ball and stopping Brentford playing their normal game.
It is looking more and more like one goal will win this. Let's get back to Gary and Andy.
Yeah, they're always tight, at always tense, these playoff finals. Thomas Frank knows all about that, doing his research coming into this. Matthew Benham possibly not going for a drinks break himself. But he decided to buy his beloved Brentford in 2012. Mark Warburton, who was then at Watford, tried to talk him into buying Watford. But it was always Brentford for Matthew Benham. He did come under fire 5 years ago for letting Mark Warburton, his then head coach, leave. May have crossed his mind to sell up then, but he didn't. He kept going, and they have built steadily for this moment. At times they were criticised for their data approach. He admits that he, in hindsight, maybe he shouldn't have mentioned it, but it's taken Brentford to where they are, and they're hugely admired now for their approach.
There's really good cover there from Ethan Pinnock, because once again, I've mentioned it a few occasions, Dennis Odoi just running away from Benrahma, who's not tracking him back. So then Rico Henry has a big problem. He was actually helped out there by Ethan Pinnock, the centre-half, stepping across and helping out defensively. But Benrahma, a little bit surprised, because it's happened time and time again. He's just standing and maybe waiting for the ball to be won back, and then he's goal side of Odoi, but he runs the risk of Odoi putting a decent ball into the box or building a decent attack and Fulham scoring.
Yeah, sometimes you do have wingers who are told by their managers, their head coaches, to stay up the pitch so they can react and operate where they want to operate. But Thomas Frank has drilled into this team about their defensive duties, and he's made them want to defend. Ollie Watkins in space here. It's Watkins, and Rodak is called into action.
Well, for Ollie Watkins, that's the first real sight of the Fulham goal. Just watching Tim Ream here as the player's developing and Watkins takes his touch. Tim Ream has really got to be getting closer than this to Watkins. Too easy for Watkins to get his shot in. Luckily for Fulham, it's right down the goalkeeper's throat. Plenty of power. It's a comfortable save for the keeper.
Brentford went for the short corner, but were unable to conjure something up. Ollie Watkins, we heard Dean Smith say earlier that Brentford did try to sign him earlier on in Dean Smith's reign, but Ollie Watkins felt that he may be arriving to play in the Brentford B team and not the first team, so he wanted another season at Exeter. It was always in the plan to play him as a central striker, where he had played many times under Paul Tisdale at Exeter too.
How can anybody not want to sign for Dean Smith? It's just beyond me.
Not in that jacket. Fulham on the move. Abu Kamara. He's looking to pick out Tom Kearney. Harrison Reed picks up for Fulham and lets fly. 18 minutes to play. A place in the Premier League is up for grabs. And all of the riches that come with it. Joe Bryan stepping in. Bobby De Cordova-Reid. This is Josh Onuma. Referee playing the advantage. Brentford deal with it. We're hearing Anthony Knockaert will be coming on shortly as Tom Kearney steps in. Benrahma.
Something that Liam just talked about players getting tired, energy levels starting to drop, mentally and physically. This is such a huge occasion that you can understand that substitutions have to be made. It's about, of course, getting them right. Can the coaches get those substitutions right? Can the players understand the tactics when they go on? Can they change the game? But we always felt, look at the quality that the teams had on the benches, that the substitutes were going to be vitally important to how the game actually panned out.
He's another who'll be fired up by being left out of the starting 11 here tonight, Anthony Knockaert, who has a bit of previous with the playoffs, a bit of history with them. It's not great history with them. In the shirts of Brighton and Leicester, so they'll be hoping to right those particular wrongs. In the meantime, this is De Silva, fizzed in to Jensen. Now it's Rico Henry. Benrahma. Norgard. There's Benrahma again. Pinnock again, every Brentford outfield player inside the Fulham half. This is Dalsgaard. Janssen. Ethan Pinnock. Benrahma. There's Janssen. Dalsgaard. Fulham's turn to watch Brentford playing their patient possession football. Janssen. Joy rising with Benrahma. Still Fulham wait to make the change. Brentford did a double over Fulham this season, but this now, the one that matters. Pontus Janssen. Ethan Pinnock. Janssen looking to stand his ground. Odoi comes out on top. De Cordova-Reid. Onomar, now Tom Kearney. Naskins Cabano. Too close to David Raya.
And that at times is a major problem for Fulham. Plenty of possession, getting to dangerous areas, but there's only, at times, only 2 white shirts in that Brentford penalty area. And of course, they're a big side at the back with Janssen and Pinnock. Very difficult to pick out an attacker. And at times, there's only 2 of them. It's even more difficult.
There's Ethan Pinnock. His education at Barnsley last season and playing the way Barnsley played under Daniel Stengel. It was important for Ethan Pinnock stepping into the Brentford team, and also the way that he played under Mark Cooper at Forest Green. Da Silva has found Emiliano. Norgard. Brentford looking for a little bit of magic, something to open up Fulham. Benrahma, being the man to provide the drama and provide the magic moments this season. Emiliano. There's Janssen. Brentford are keeping the engine ticking over. Pinnock. Rico Henry. This is Janssen. Benrahma tries to pick it up and he hit Janssen but got it back. Rico Henry held up by Hector, but Benrahma again drifting towards the byline. Da Silva beaten in the air. Now the break could be on for Fulham, and Abu Kamara leading that break up the pitch. As we said earlier on, counter-attacks are not really Fulham's game this season. Different story 2 years ago under Slaviša Jokanovic, when they had Ryan Fredericks, Matt Targett, Ryan Sessegnon bursting forward, mainly from the full-back positions. Alexander Mitrovic has been called for by Scott Parker. He will be coming on shortly, along with Anthony Knockaert. Watkins trying to get the better of Hector, who stuck to his task, but committed the foul.
It's Brentford who are really enjoying the bulk of possession now. You can understand the positive changes that Scott Parker's going to make here with Mitrovic and Knockaert coming on. You look at his bench, the two most dangerous players he's really got to call on.
So stretching the hamstring is Alexander Mitrovic, who's had heat cream rubbed onto the hamstring. Ahead of stripping off and ready to try and make an impact in the Championship playoff final. But before he can, Brentford have this free kick. The signal from Jensen. Jensen gets his head on it. Fulham again, stand their ground. Anthony Knockaert's been waiting a while, but he's about to come on, and it's Maskins Cabano who will make way. Straight swap. Cabano off, Knockaert on. Knockaert looking to write happier memories in the playoffs. Maskins Cabano in conversation with him. That heartbreaking penalty miss wearing a Leicester City shirt, and then Watford raced down the pitch and scored in the playoff semi-finals. Alexander Mitrovic is continuing his warm-up for now. The bib was off, now it's back on. Sergi Canos will be coming on shortly for Brentford. 10 minutes to find a winner. Josh Onomah. Now Joe Bryan. This is Kearney. Bryan again. Here's Ream. Both teams looking for that little bit of magic, that bit of quality in the final third.
Yeah, both defences have been on top, but all it takes is one lapse in concentration, one mistake, bit of magic. And the game will be won. I think 4 of the last 7 finals have been settled by a single goal. I expected more from this one, expected a few goals. Looks like a single goal could win this one as well.
Extra time and penalties if we need it. Camera is offside. We're hearing it will be him. Well, that was the plan anyway, to be replaced by Alexander Mitrovic. But Mitrovic has continued his warm-up.
Just mentioned that Brentford really got a foothold in the game now, enjoying lots of the ball, but it's across the face of Fulham. They're not really getting in behind and getting crosses in. They need to change that.
Not happen now, but over the head of Ollie Watkins. There's De Silva. Norgard stretching. It's Dalsgaard.
Well, Henrik Dalsgaard would have been the most unlikely match winner if he drilled this one home, but that's what Brentford need to do more of. Keeping the ball is one thing, but getting into decent wide areas, getting crosses in, stretching Fulham defensively more than they've done so far in the game.
Sergi Canos into the action to replace Josh De Silva. Sergi Canos, who was a regular starter at the start of the season, but then suffered a knee injury. He was ruled out for the rest of the campaign, but the corona pause allowed him to get fit. He may have a big part to play in this Championship playoff final. Referee has played the advantage. Onomah trying to slip it through for Abu Kamara. Kamara trying to move away from Janssen initially, and then Dalsgaard was there as well, and now Fulham are caught offside. There's another promising position, but again it comes to nothing.
Yeah, I think it's true for both sides. They've got into those dangerous areas. Just been a lack of quality, lack of quick thinking. As both defences have been really disciplined. It's really strong play by Joe Bryan. There is no foul in there. It's a real opportunity. Janssen does well. He gets back goal side. He stays on his feet, watches the ball. Doesn't give Kamara the opportunity to get a shot in. Forces Fulham backwards. And when he plays that ball across the pitch, they're offside. So good defending from Brentford. They squeeze up when that ball goes back.
It's away from Ollie Watkins that time. Scored 26 for the season now, has Ollie Watkins, but he did lose out on the golden boot to Alexander Mitrovic, who also scored 26, but in the regular season. Ollie Watkins' 26th goal came in the playoff semi-final. Onomah's got the better of Pinnock, and he went for it.
Well, he used his strength just to lever his man off the ball. Doesn't even look at the target. He just trusts that he's got this volley right and he can get it to dip over the goalkeeper. Just again puts too much power on it. Very difficult when you haven't had a sight of goal to make sure that goes over the keeper and under the crossbar.
Scott Parker, you can see in the distance, pacing up and down. It's what he does. Could have settled for the easy life and stayed on the back benches, Scott Parker, but he wanted to take on this challenge of leading Fulham and all of the expectation that goes with it. At times he's faced a bit of criticism. As players say, he should get more credit for the job he's done, as we said earlier on, to change that losing mentality from when they dropped out of the Premier League. He's doing it his way, the way he wants to play football. And Rama unable to smuggle the ball through. Josh Onomah, Pinnock there to greet him. Dennis Adoy, what's he doing there? Harrison Reed. Dennis Adoy now making his way back.
You know, the Fulham bench were screaming at their players to get in the box, and there's an opportunity there for a cross to be put in, but there is no white shirt in the penalty area, so they have to recycle the ball, keep it alive, come back across Brentford. Got to do more, try and get more bodies in the box.
Well, he's still waiting, Alexander Mitrovic. As we said earlier, the bib did come off.
Is he being used as just a threat? We might put him on, and not actually going to put him on, but I think for centre-halves, for those Brentford defenders looking across and seeing Mitrovic, you are going to be worried whether he's going to set foot onto the pitch, because he can. In a game like this, it's set up for him. Clearly not fully fit, but if he were to come on, it wouldn't be a surprise if he won the game and got Fulham promoted.
Sergi Canos. Camera, Tom Kearney. How does the referee see that? He sees it as a foul on Anthony Knockaert. He wasn't too happy with the treatment there from Matthijs Jensen, or the words which may have followed.
This is what Knockaert will bring, a desire to sprint forward. To really ask questions of defenders getting back, and does he really intend to foul him here, to trip him up? I think he puts that right arm across. He knows that Knockaert is there, so I think the referee absolutely right to book him. He did know where the Fulham player was and made sure he was going to go no further.
Two minutes of normal time to play. Nothing to separate these two West London rivals in North London. This is Ream. Watkins beaten in the air by Ream. There's Ream again, and the Fulham backline, Ream and Hector in particular, done a really good job on Ollie Watkins tonight.
I think you have to give both sides a lot of credit. They've kept going for the winner. In many championship finals that I've covered, you get to 60-70 minutes and sides are scared to lose it rather than to go and win it, but both these teams have kept going, looking for that opening goal, that key winning goal that could take them to the Premier League.
Offside this time against Ollie Watkins. That's Ream. Almost sold Tom Kearney a little short. The first goal has been vital in Fulham games this season. If they score it, they usually go on to win. If they concede it, you don't tend to see them again, apart from when they face Queen's Park Rangers in 2 West London derbies. That's why Scott Parker knew tonight the first goal would be so important. It's been that way for Fulham this season. Ream drives that ball out beautifully to Knockaert. He looks to try and give Rico Henry the slip. He's got 2 for company as Anthony Knockaert. Benrahma one of those. And we will have 3 additional minutes. 3 minutes to settle this. Ollie Watkins is all alone. He's used his body really well this season, Ollie Watkins, and was thrown to the ground by Hector, and Brentford have a free kick.
It's a brilliant piece of centre-forward play. It's not easy to hold Michael Hector off. He does that so well, secures possession. Clearly looking to get this ball back into midfield, get a teammate on the ball, but he's just pulled over, dragged over by Hector. And this is an opportunity set piece. In open play, both teams have struggled to create chances. Could we get a winning goal from a free kick?
Well, a goal now wins it, and wins a place in the Premier League. Benrahma standing over this. It's Paul.
There's just far too much on it. It's a real tactic from Fulham. They're playing a really high defensive line. There's a huge amount of space. You just got to clip that ball in, put a bit of air on it, you whip it. You've got no chance of a teammate catching up with it.
Well, the change has been changed. Alexander Mitrovic is coming on. It will be Bobby De Cordova-Reid to make way. So Alexander Mitrovic, who's missed the playoff campaign so far because of a hamstring problem, is called for in the 92nd minute.
And he will clearly lead the line, and the versatile Abu Kamara will just switch out onto that left-hand side where De Cordova-Reid was playing.
He's called for his leading man. How much does Alexander Mitrovic have in the tank with that hamstring problem that he's had to recover from? This is Hector. It's been Alexander Mitrovic's best scoring season since he hit 28 for Anderlecht. And that's where he was again, ready to sign for Anderlecht. When the move broke down, he was in Belgium, and Slaviša Jokanovic, then Fulham manager, heard what had happened, put the call in, and they managed to bring him to Craven Cottage. Real sliding doors moment. Newcastle wanted him to go to Middlesbrough if the Anderlecht deal broke down. There's Tom Kearney. Norgard rising. We are going the distance in the Championship playoff final at Wembley. Goalless after 90 minutes. Fulham have been the more threatening. David Raya making a sharp save in the first half. Scott Parker has since called for Alexander Mitrovic, who will play his part in extra time. After 90 minutes, Brentford 0, Fulham 0.
Ready to come on with a good 15-20 minutes to go. But I can completely understand, I said it in a drinks break, tactically Scott Parker must have been so happy with what his Fulham team doing, especially Kamara up front, giving him the energy to be able to press, that he probably didn't want to change it. But when you've got a man like Alexander Mitrovic waiting to come on, I wouldn't want to argue with him. And look, he's someone who can make the difference for them.
And he's
and
certainly
hopefully
got
he can
half
get
an
through
hour
the
in
game.
him, or so we think. The 7th Championship playoff final to go to extra time. Let's go back to Andy and Gary.
Thank you, Scott. Alexander Mitrovic standing over the ball and ready and eager to get extra time underway. Nothing to choose between these two West London neighbours. It will be tense a few miles away from here in West London, as we said earlier. Families divided, friendships on hold too. In certain areas of West London, it's down to extra time to decide a place in the Premier League. It's still up for grabs.
I think from a Fulham perspective, I agree with Liam. Tactically, they've done everything right. They've really stifled Brentford. We've not seen the best of the front three, the BMW front three by any means, and Burmo's gone off as well. But I just think making changes, bringing on Knockout, bringing on Mitrovic, there's now a game to be won, so you've maybe got to take a few more risks, send on players who can win the game for you, and maybe it's not so much about tactics now, it's about individuals, a bit of brilliance, and get that opening goal. I think you get to the Premier League, simple as that.
Tom Kearney. That's Ream. Tom Kearney again. All driven towards Anthony Knockaert, but Henry was alive to it. Here's Jensen. Emiliano. Sergi Canos looking to make things happen. Ollie Watkins! A big sighted goal for the Brentford striker. It's a goal kick, he wants more.
I just wonder if Michael Hector does enough here to put off Ollie Watkins. Dennis Adoy has been dragged in field, they're all over the place at the back. It's Anthony Knockaert as a makeshift right back, but it's Hector. That's a brilliant piece of defending in the end. He just manages just to get a foot in, to step across Ollie Watkins at that key moment. Makes it really difficult for the Brentford striker to turn that shot goalwards, but much better from Brentford. Really sharp attack and getting Watkins involved in the game finally.
But that is what they worked so hard on with Ollie Watkins, getting between the centre-backs, so he's there for those crosses coming into the box. They do it day after day at the training ground. Jensen, Watkins on the move again, Hector again in the way. Harrison Reed wins the free kick.
You see that opportunity for him. Actually, Michael Hector is goal side of him in a good position, but Watkins just makes a little run, a little burst across the centre half. That means then Hector is stretching. He's in a position he doesn't want to be in. Could have turned the ball into his own net, but he just about did enough to knock the ball to safety. But good movement from Watkins.
He did his best, didn't he, to get Harrison Reed back to his feet there, Ollie Watkins. Reed having none of it. He's spoken very highly of by his manager at his parent club Southampton, Ralph Hasenhüttl, as Harrison Reed.
No foul, no foul.
Could well be incorporated in the Southampton team next season. Yeah, Emile Højbjerg set to leave, although Fulham will be hoping to take him to Craven Cottage permanently after what he's produced this season.
Keep it.
This is Hector. Fulham are considering another change. Cyrus Christie could be coming on shortly for Dennis Adoy. That's the word from the Fulham bench. Ethan Pinnock. Pontus Janssen. Emiliano was the target that time. Ream got to it. Anthony Knockaert. Harrison Reed. This is Dennis Adoy. Maybe a more attack-minded fullback coming on to replace Dennis Adoy if they make this change with Christie coming off, as David Raya takes charge of that situation, but the ball drops straight at the feet of Cameron, who's on the charge now. David Raya was right behind it.
Well, it was a mistake initially. Really poor clearance from David Raya, but he did the right thing, didn't worry about it, got back into a decent position where he needed to be. Anticipate the shot would come in from Cameron, was there to drop on it.
He's had a good season, David Raya. Had a difficult time in his final season at Blackburn Rovers. Inaka Pavon, who was the goalkeeping coach at Brentford when David Raya arrived, and played a big part in David Raya's arrival at Griffin Park, has since moved to Arsenal. Therefore, Arsenal are being linked with David Raya.
It was huge for them in the semi-final, saving a penalty. Made a crucial save from Conor Gallagher in the second leg at Griffin Park. He's been exceptional throughout this season.
Tom Kearney. This is Reen. Abu Kamara stating his case. Scott Parker actually started his coaching career in charge of the youth team at Leatherhead because his young boy was playing there. So he expected the youngsters to listen to him. They didn't really.
Good luck with that.
Always been on his mind to become a head coach. Kept the notes from many a training session that he had as a player down the years in a folder on his desk. And he's put them to good use. There's Jensen. Now Janssen. Dalsgaard. Fired through to Emiliano. Sergi Canos drifting in field, looking to make things happen here. Ollie Watkins. It's Ben Rama. On the outside is Henry. The shot from Janssen. Hector pouncing. Fulham will always, Brentford I should say, will always try and look for that extra pass. And they did there, but it came to nothing. This is Onuma. Dalsgaard steps in that time. Now Joe Bryan. Knockout on this side of the pitch. David Raya off his line and flying through the air. Gets to it.
Well, the game's just starting to get a little bit stretched. The defenders do really have to switch on here. Ethan Pinnock gets caught underneath this ball. Once again, David Raya is so alive to the danger.
Hector. Janssen that time. There's Norgard. Emiliano. Hector again, reading the situation, stepping in, had to stretch and committed the foul. And the yellow card is coming out for Michael Hector.
We've seen a few really strong challenges from Fulham players. Harrison Reed, Tom Kearney. This time it's Michael Hector. The ball does get away from him. And he could really go through Norgard there. I think that's the right decision, a yellow card. He could have absolutely taken him out there and he would have been sent off, but he just backed up that little bit, and that's why it's a yellow, not red.
It's the second hit that Norgard's had to take in this game.
It was Harrison Reed that caught him earlier, was it? So, you know, you're playing that holding midfield role, you're combative, you have to take a few knocks, but a couple that he's had have been really tough ones.
Jensen drives the ball towards Ben Rama. Well, a little bit like Scott Parker, Thomas Frank went from the backbenches at Brentford to the dispatch box when he replaced Dean Smith almost 2 years ago. He just won one of his first 10 games in charge. But that's where Brentford's data analysis came into play. Other clubs may have cracked and considered making a change, but those above Thomas Frank saw that the team were creating chances, they were playing well, hitting good performance stats, and the players were responding to him. So they stayed with him, and they're getting their rewards now. That's where that table of justice, you may have heard us mention a few times, comes into play at Brentford. They don't just look at results, they look at underlying performance stats and base their in-house league on that. And when it's explained to you, as it was explained to us, Andy, last year, it does make sense.
It's something we look at for every team. It's not about results, it's not where you are on the league table, it's how you actually play. We look at average positions, so we're looking at the game in so much more depth than we ever used to do, and it does explain a lot of what we see.
Anthony Knockaert. Now Tom Kearney. Dalsgaard looking over his shoulder, and over his shoulder, looking to make an impact was Camara. Thumbs up for the ball, thumbs up for the idea. Janssen goes along, looking for Ollie Watkins. Hector wins the duel. Norgard. That's Pinnock looking for Saeed Benrahma. Rico Henry again scurrying forward from left back, and that's all that Anthony Knockaert could do. He's booked. Brentford have a free kick again. Rico Henry making an impact from the left back position.
Incredible fitness levels at this stage of the game. Rico Henry is sprinting away from a substitute who's fresh on. You know what a good player is, what balance he gives Brentford down the left-hand side, but just his pace to run away from Knockaert.
Felt like he had to prove himself this season. Rico Henry has had a nightmare time with injuries. He's played something like 50 games now this season. His best return yet. Always a special talent coming through at Walsall. Don't want to get between those two, would you? In by Benrahma.
The angle of that ball in from Saeed Benrahma was absolutely perfect. It's great defending first man. Joe Bryant gets his head on it. Vital that he did.
We did see long throws cause Fulham problems. And Cardiff City went up against them last week, and Henrik Dalsgaard launches this one in, and it's safely held by Rodak. And there's that quick release again. We saw him do it in the first half. Look how far up the field David Raya is. He'll have to scurry back now because Josh Onomah's picked up possession. Norgard got there, and that was an important touch from Norgard, although he committed the foul. But David Raya, so high up the pitch, almost got caught out.
Well, he had to take one for the team there. He's caught in a horrible position. He's got a problem if Onomah takes possession of the ball, but when his goalkeeper comes out, he thinks, well, we're in a real mess here. Such a poor header from Raya that when it breaks, Norgard has no choice but to take Onomah out. Because if he controls this ball, looks up, he could just lob this ball back over the Brentford goalkeeper. So Norgard knew exactly what he was doing in taking out his man.
A booking for Christian Norgard. Emiliano's gone down here. Ethan Pinnock and Michael Hector exchanging words. Pontus Janssen getting involved. The yellow card shown the way of Mitrovic. It's heating up at Wembley.
I'm surprised this hasn't happened sooner, really, with what's at stake. The clock ticking down. Mitrovic there, you simply can't do that, can you? Grabbing hold of your man and shoving him to the ground, that's ridiculous.
Well, we know when he first arrived in English football, he was fired up. He was on the end of red cards. He calmed down a lot, Alexander Mitrovic. This game means a lot. And he's just left his calling card there. He's in conversation with the assistant referee now on this side of the pitch, but Martin Atkinson taking charge of the situation.
I'm not sure what his defence was.
Final few seconds of the first period of extra time. Still goalless at Wembley. Fulham looking to change the picture here. Joe Bryan eyeing this up. Joe Bryan! He's caught out David Raya. Inventive, bright thinking. It could send Fulham to the Premier League. One swing of a boot to possibly become immortal at Craven Cottage. Fulham outwit Brentford.
Well, it's a mistake from David Raya in terms of his positioning. It's such a high line that Brentford are holding. There's a huge corridor that he expects Joe Bryan to just whip the ball into. But Bryan then sees where the goalkeeper is, that he's expecting a cross, so I'll just whip it towards that right-hand post, because he left me a huge gap for me to put the ball into. That said, he's a long way out, Joe Bryan. At this stage of the game, tired legs, to get the power, to get the accuracy, and to have the speed of thought to take that opportunity on. Quite brilliant from the left-back.
What a time to do that, what a place to do that. Joe Bryan outwitting David Raya. Scott Park is off. Fulham just before the break in extra time. Strike, and David Raya, who's had a phenomenal season, is the man who's caught out.
Yeah, at times defensive anticipation works for you. This time he's got it horribly wrong, the Brentford goalkeeper, but I can understand why he's thinking this cross is going to come in. It's extraordinary from Joe Bryan, it really is.
Ivan Caballero sent on to replace Abu Kamara. Brentford have made a change to Halil Devasolu has come on, and it's Matthias Jensen who makes way. Well, bright thinking from Bryan, and Fulham in the driving seat. We saw him have that moment just minutes before, when he had to scurry back to make sure he wasn't caught out by Josh Onoma. Brentford have to pick themselves up here. We've seen their chance at automatic promotion slip through their fingers in the final week, and now they are a goal down at half-time in extra time. Bright thinking from Fulham's left-back Joe Bryan at the moment is making the difference. Scott.
It certainly is making a difference, and Dean, mistake from Raya, but what brilliance from Joe Bryan.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, you're hoping that a mistake doesn't win the game, but, you know, it's a great spot from him. I thought from his run-up, he can't be putting this in the box. I thought he was passing it, and then he's gone for goal, and, you know, the keeper scrambling then.
To do that at this stage, Liam, it's a great strike, great thinking, very bold.
Very bold. You need great technique and you need great fitness. He's been on the pitch for 105 minutes, and to pull that out of the bag on a stage like this, in a game that's so important, you know, you can look at the goalkeeper, but I always like to credit the attacking player, and Joe Bryan's got a wonderful left foot, and he's shown it there. And I think now for Scott is going to be a real test for Fulham, because they've had to defend well for 105 minutes. Can they do it for 15 more? And you can see now Thomas Frank speaking to his players, it's all or nothing for them. So it's going to be fascinating to see how these last 15 minutes develop.
Dean, you'd won this game by this stage in last year's final. You're on the champagne by now, but look, this is your last team talk to Brentford. What would you be saying?
I believe, you know, there's goals in this team. There's been goals in this team all season. It's very rare they go through a game without scoring. So, you know, I have a lot of belief in what you're doing.
The team scoring first have won 23 of the last 29 Championship playoff finals. 15 minutes away, Fulham fans, from being in the Premier League. Let's get back to Andy and Gary.
Joe Bryan, the man of the moment, who had such a difficult time when he first arrived at Craven Cottage following his move from Bristol City. His thinking has put Fulham in front. Brentford now with 15 minutes to rescue this. And they are making a change. Rico Henry is being withdrawn, and Tariq Fosu is coming on, a January signing from Oxford, an attacking change from Thomas Frank. It is down to this. We mentioned earlier that when Fulham have scored first in games this season, they've managed to stand their ground. The first goal absolutely key in Fulham contest this campaign, and they have struck first here in the game at Wembley. But here come Brentford, off the head of Ream. Benrahma losing out. Tom Kearney, whose goal took Fulham to the Premier League 2 years ago.
The temptation, of course, for Fulham is just to maybe sit on the edge of their own penalty area, see out the final 15 minutes. That's the last thing they should be doing. Of course, it's human nature. It's the nature of players to maybe protect what they've got. But I'm sure Scott will be saying, look, if we can get that ball up the pitch, get our players up the pitch and take the game to Brentford when possible.
Maxime Lamarchand, a centre-back, and Cyrus Christie will be coming on shortly. Cyrus Christie, who was coming on earlier on. Ethan Pinnock. Brentford on the attack here, and there was an opportunity down at that near post. Nevasholu unable to produce right at the near post.
Yeah, Brentford have just got to throw absolutely everything at Fulham now, get bodies in the box, exactly what they do here. Just the ball in isn't the greatest. It's not the cleanest of crosses, it's defendable.
Promotion last season through the playoffs in the Netherlands. Halil Dervisoglu, signed from Sparta Rotterdam in January. One thing we've seen Scott Parker do this season is switch to a 5 at the back when protecting a lead. And there's never been a more important lead to protect for Scott Parker. And Maxime Lamarchand, coming on shortly, would suggest you may be switching to 5 at the back. Dalsgaard's cross, claimed again by Rodak. Brentford have dazzled, they have danced around teams this season, but ultimately, is it to be championship football for them next season? They and Fulham have packed their bags. They are in the Championship departure lounge. One, though, will be going back. The other will have liftoff into a different stratosphere. At the moment, it's Fulham. It's in their hand. This is Anthony Knockaert. And Raya pounces. Brentford looking for something special now. Saeed Benrahma loses out and cuts a frustrated figure. Tom Kearney trying to get Fulham up the pitch. Miliano taking aim from distance. Fulham will take that. So here comes the double change from Fulham. Cyrus Christie, we believe, will replace Dennis Adoy. First change, though, is Maxime Lamarchand coming on, and off goes Josh Onoma. So we'll wait to see whether that means 5 at the back for Fulham.
Well, I've been taking off one of your most influential attackers, who's had a very good game. He's covered a lot of ground for the team going forward. You can understand it at this stage. Send on experienced defenders to see the job through. What we have, we try and hold for Fulham.
Dennis Adoy going off in very different circumstances. So when he went off in this game to years ago. Or is he? Yes, he is. Sent off 2 years ago, and on comes Cyrus Christie. The note handed to Tom Kearney, who was handed a note against Cardiff City in the second leg last week, and then put it straight on the turf without ripping it up. So Le Marchand is on. Harrison Reed did get a message across to the Fulham bench, we believe, that he is struggling a little bit, but he stays on.
It's pretty obviously going to be a back five now for Fulham. Scott Parker has done that before. Cyrus Christie is the wing-back, Marchand's the extra centre-half.
Yeah, he has done that, and it's been successful this season in protecting the lead. 10 minutes for Brentford to save this. Norgard. Ethan Pinnock. Dervisolu with the touch. Sergi Canos. It's Fosu. Fosu runs into trouble. No messing about. Well, Maxime Le Marchand, and the break could be on here for Fulham. Ivan Caballero, who's won promotion with Wolves before. Anthony Knockaert. Caballero was making a move on the outside of him. Well, here come Brentford again. Ollie Watkins has Hector for company. It's been that way all night. Ollie Watkins again. Fulham doing everything to try and protect their clean sheet. That is what he's instilled in this team. Their ability to be streetwise, to tough games out, to dig their heels in. And now they have to try and do it on the biggest stage of all at Wembley, deep into extra time. Emiliano looking to react. David Raya. Knockaert. Mitrovic making a move for this. David Raya thumps that ball back up the pitch. Pontus Janssens remain forward. Dervisolu. Sergi Canos will pick himself up. He's won a free kick.
Just far too keen to get to the ball here. Is it Cyrus Christie? No, just stay goal side of your man, stay on your feet. You commit yourself to try and head that. You're clearly going to foul Canos, and he's given a free kick away in a dangerous area. And this is where Saïd Benrahma needs to step up. He's not had the greatest of games. I'd be surprised if he crosses this. This type of position is kind of built for his right foot to whip it goalwards.
Brentford need a hero. Benrahma, the wall swallows it up. There's a Fulham player lying down behind the wall, just in case Benrahma went under it. The ball slipped through towards Norgard, and Rodak again reacts.
All good play is excellent. Just the angle of the ball in from Norgard. Dervisolu is an excellent forward ball. He's onside Norgard. Just got to pull that ball away from the goalkeeper a little bit more. He's got teammates to aim at. It's just easy for the Fulham keeper.
Thomas Frank chewing on that gum, hoping his team can come up with the solution here. He's just looked up to the scoreboard to look at the clock. Brentford did the double over Fulham this season, but are Fulham about to win the biggest game yet between these two?
When football restarted, Brentford were absolute whirlwind, winning game after game after game. They had the opportunity to finish in the top two. They blew that against Stoke and Barnsley. Are they going to blow the playoff final as well?
Bit of cramp for Marek Rodak. Lamarchand across to administer the treatment. Goalkeeper and cramp, Andy Hinchcliffe.
Don't get me started.
Is he the hero? Smash forward by Pinnock. Hector tried to get in front of Ollie Watkins. It's been a wonderful battle between those two all night. Saeed Benrahma. Rodak was almost tempted off his line. Ream gets to it. And Rodak comfortably deals with that from Pinnock. Rodak, who was drafted in as Fulham's #1 in autumn time. Big decision made by Scott Parker to replace Marcus Bettinelli, a decision which was accepted by Marcus Bettinelli. Scott Parker felt they were conceding too many goals in terms of the ratio of shots they were facing, and Rodak has not looked back. This is Caballero. Tom Kearney. Bryan again on the charge. It's Joe Bryan again! It's incredible! The fullback is moonlighting as a striker. Wembley is his. Fulham have been down this road before, and they are feeling right at home. Our world football's stately home. The Premier League return is on.
Well, his first goal was all about his quick thinking, but how about his athleticism and his willingness to break forward? I said, Scott Parker saying to his players, when the opportunity is there, step forward into the Brentford half. Don't sit and wait for Brentford to come at you. And just look at what Joe Bryan does here. He just makes things happen, sprinting forward with 2 or 3 minutes of the game left to play, not holding on for 1-0, wanting to make it 2-0. Little give and go. Emiliano doesn't stay with him, and he actually manages to sort his feet out and took it away with his right foot, his weaker right foot. Absolutely extraordinary for a left-back to have the impact that Joe Bryan has had on this game. Quite incredible. 2 very different goals, hugely important, but this one just kills the game off. So simple, so effective.
And he is no stranger to finishing with his right foot. We saw that time after time during his Bristol City days. Brentford crushed. He's had so much pressure on those young shoulders this season, so much expectation to take Fulham back to the Premier League. And it looks like he's delivering, and it looks like he's recovered his tie clip.
You have to give Scott Parker a huge amount of credit. Turned a team around after it got relegated. He wants them to play a certain way. They've not been perfect this season by any means, but this game, tactically, he stifled a very dangerous team, and then a couple of bits of brilliance, really, from Joe Bryan have turned it in Fulham's favour.
Well, we say the playoffs are brutal but brilliant. It's a brutal ending for Brentford, who've been superb this season, dazzling at times, but Fulham are taking the big prize unless something dramatic happens at the end here. And Henrik Dalsgaard unable to get over that and put it on target, but Fulham have really shown up tonight. They have done a job on their West London neighbours. He wouldn't even have been dreaming of a double, Joe Bryan, at Wembley. He does have goals in him, but to score 2 big goals on an occasion like this, on a night like this, with an opportunity like this, Incredible. We will have 4 additional minutes. There's still time for Brentford, but they need something now. Dervisolu. Here's Pontus Jansson. Thumped away by Cyrus Christie. Brentford had a couple of big pressure games towards the end of the season when West Bromwich Albion had presented them with a chance to go second. That's Benrahma. It's over the top. But they failed to deliver on those 2 occasions, and tonight will be a night of regrets on this big occasion.
Yeah, I think there's been threats from Brentford, just not been quite good enough, but I think all the credit has to go to Fulham and Scott Parker. The way that they approached the game, the tactics spot on, and then the energy, the urgency that his team have played with, and you know what it came down to was just the quick thinking for the first goal from Joe Bryan, real athleticism, fitness, and great finish for the second goal. So I think we've got to talk much more about Fulham than Brentford maybe not turning up. I think Fulham made it very, very hard for them.
Foul by Ivan Caballero, and a yellow card for Caballero. Emiliano standing over this. Nice free kick, asking a couple of questions again, though Fulham have come up with the answer. This is Pontus Jansson. Is it to be playoff heartbreak again for him? Dalsgaard's touch. Again, though, Fulham defending with everything they've got. Benrahma trying to create an angle for the shot, but unable to open up the space, and the break could be on here. Anthony Knockaert, David Raya sprinting back towards his goal. Caballero's up there with him. Ivan Caballero, and David Raya was there to greet him.
Just needs to play the ball a little bit earlier, but credit David Raya for getting out and being brave.
Free kick to Fulham. And they will take that.
I think what you have to remember is that Fulham lost both the regular season games against Brentford without scoring, but when it really mattered in the Championship playoff final, they have come up trumps.
He can barely hide the smile, Joe Bryan. He'll be watching this back all summer. Saeed Benrahma, clubs will be calling and knocking on Brentford's door for his services. Knockaert trying to rise, and maybe there is a little bit of hope. It's Henrik Dalsgaard, who's trying to sprint back to get the game restarted. As Rodak is yellow carded, is hope reignited? Time's ticking away.
Well, it's the first time that Brentford have got a ball into a box, and they've got to the ball first ahead of a Fulham defender. Norgard does ever so well to keep this alive at the far post. Rather than go for goal, he heads it back across the 6-yard box. That's why Dalsgaard scores. And this would be quite extraordinary if Brentford can get an equaliser.
Rodak yellow carded, Dalsgaard scoring. How much time is left? It's the Championship. It was never going to be straightforward. History repeats for Fulham. This is how they got to the Premier League 2 years ago, and they have hit the heights on the greatest stage again. Promotion was demanded of this Fulham team, and they've delivered. And Joe Bryan, yes, Joe Bryan is the man who has struck twice to take this club back to the Premier League. David Raya absolutely crushed. He was outwitted for the first goal before being beaten for the second. Brentford, who have dazzled us this season, they've destroyed teams at times this season. They themselves left destroyed on the Wembley turf.
I think for Fulham, a quite extraordinary performance. So the players, of course, take most of the credit, but Scott Parker, what an incredible job he has done. I never saw this coming. I think halfway through the season, I didn't think they were good enough to maybe get into the playoffs or get promoted, but he's proved me wrong. I think tonight he showed what a good coach he is. He's got experience behind him with Stuart Gray, but they got absolutely everything right. You've got to remember they did most of it without their talisman, Alexander Mitrovic. So an extraordinary coaching job from Stuart Gray and Scott Parker, and the players, the energy, the urgency to smother a really dangerous attacking team in Brentford. A quite brilliant performance from Fulham.
It's an incredible job that Scott Parker has done, that demand and expectation on his shoulders, and he, on his shoulders, has carried Fulham back to the Premier League.